Welcome to Thrilling Theatre, the channel that takes you on a heart-pounding journey through the darkest corners of reality. Get ready to be immersed in gripping true thriller stories that will leave you on the edge of your seat. If you're a fan of suspense, mystery, and the unexplained, you're in the right place. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a spine-tingling story. And without further ado, let's dive into today's story. The day began like any other, as I boarded ALM Flight 980 at Kennedy Airport. The passengers, myself included, were filled with eager anticipation as we embarked on our journey to the Caribbean. We dreamed of sunny skies, sandy beaches, and the promise of adventure that beckoned from afar. The aircraft stood on the tarmac, gleaming in the morning sun, and I settled into my seat, ready for the escape that awaited us. As we taxied towards the runway, the excitement in the cabin was palpable. Strangers exchanged hopeful glances, children chattered with excitement, and the low hum of conversation filled the air. The flight attendants moved gracefully through the aisle, delivering warm smiles and reassuring words. It was a picture of normalcy, a scene repeated countless times in airports around the world. The takeoff was smooth, the engines roaring to life as we soared into the clear blue sky. The world below became smaller, and the anticipation of reaching our tropical destination grew with each passing minute. For a while, it seemed like this journey would be just like any other. As we cruised at a comfortable altitude, the cabin lights dimmed, and some passengers settled into a nap, while others turned their attention to in-flight entertainment or the books they had brought along. It was a moment of tranquility, a temporary escape from the stresses of everyday life. But then, as the hours passed, a subtle unease began to settle among the passengers. The skies, once calm and inviting, had darkened, and the flight attendants, usually so composed, exchanged hushed words. Turbulence rattled the aircraft, causing unease to spread like wildfire. The captain's voice came over the intercom, breaking the uneasy silence. He informed us that we were approaching St. Martin, our intended destination, but that the weather was not cooperating. Storm clouds loomed ahead, and the captain explained that we would need to divert to San Juan, Puerto Rico, for our safety. A ripple of concern swept through the cabin as we had no choice but to accept the change of plans. Passengers exchanged worried glances, and the children on board, once full of excitement, began to fall silent. The skies outside grew darker, and flashes of lightning illuminated the stormy clouds, followed by the distant rumblings of thunder. We were at the mercy of nature, and the once promising journey had taken a daunting turn. As we descended towards San Juan, the turbulence intensified, and the aircraft's movements grew erratic. Anxiety mounted among the passengers, and I couldn't help but glance out the window, where lightning danced across the turbulent sky. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom once more, announcing that landing in San Juan was not possible due to the storm's severity. With no other options, the captain informed us that we would attempt to return to St. Martin, where he had received news that the weather had improved. Hope flickered among the passengers, but the tension in the cabin remained palpable. We braced ourselves for what lay ahead, the uncertainty of the situation gnawing at our nerves. And so, as we made our way back towards St. Martin, none of us could have predicted the harrowing ordeal that awaited us. It was a journey that would test our resolve, our courage, and our faith in the face of nature's relentless fury. The aircraft circled St. Martin, the once hopeful glimmers of sunshine replaced by an ever-threatening sky. Passengers clung to their seats, eyes glued to the windows, straining to spot any sign of the runway through the turbulent clouds. But the veil of mist and rain remained unyielding, and with heavy hearts, the crew had no choice but to announce another missed landing attempt. Panic rippled through the cabin as we continued to circle, searching for a break in the relentless storm. The seconds felt like hours as we waited for the captain's voice to guide us. Desperation painted the faces of those around me, and fear clawed at my chest. The second landing attempt was no more successful than the first. The runway remained hidden, and the aircraft's movements grew increasingly erratic. Lightning flashes outside cast eerie shadows on the faces of my fellow passengers, revealing a mixture of dread and determination. As the captain announced the need for a third attempt, a collective sigh of apprehension swept through the cabin. The aircraft descended once more, but the weather showed no mercy. The runway remained elusive, and our altitude was too high for a safe landing. The aircraft shook with turbulence, and the captain's voice held a note of tension as he explained our situation. Fear gnawed at us as we circled, and the atmosphere in the cabin grew increasingly tense. Time seemed to blur as the minutes ticked by, each moment filled with uncertainty. Whispers of danger swept through the cabin. We were stranded above the open sea, and these waters were known for more than just their tempestuous nature. Sharks were a constant presence here, lurking beneath the surface. The thought sent shivers down my spine and deepened the dread that had settled among the passengers. And then, with a sudden and terrifying jolt, the aircraft made a harrowing descent toward the unforgiving ocean below. The impact was brutal, a deafening crash that sent shockwaves through the cabin. Water flooded in, and fear paralyzed me for a moment. I fumbled for my life jacket, struggling to buckle it as the cold seawater seeped in. The aircraft remained afloat for a brief, agonizing moment, but it was clear we were sinking. Panic erupted as we realized we were stranded in the middle of the vast ocean. Sharks were not our only concern. We were at the mercy of the relentless waves, fighting to keep our heads above water. With no warning, no instructions, and no way to communicate with the crew, the situation felt increasingly dire. We clung to any piece of wreckage, life jackets tightly fastened, hoping to avoid the unseen predators below. The relentless waves tossed us like ragdolls, testing our endurance and resolve. Rain lashed against our faces, stinging like tiny needles. Each passing minute felt like an eternity, and fear settled in our hearts like an unwelcome guest. Amid the chaos, a haunting silence enveloped us, broken only by the occasional cry for help or the sound of someone struggling to stay afloat. The remnants of the aircraft floated nearby, a stark reminder of the ordeal we had just endured. The ocean, once a symbol of beauty and tranquility, now felt like a vast, unforgiving expanse. It was a cruel irony that we had longed for the warmth of its waters on our Caribbean vacation, but now it threatened to be our grave. The darkness of night began to descend upon us, adding another layer of dread to our predicament. With no sign of rescue on the horizon, we faced the chilling prospect of spending the night in these shark-infested waters. In the distance, thunder rumbled ominously, a reminder that the storm had not yet passed. Flashes of lightning illuminated the towering waves, casting eerie shadows on our desperate faces. Conversations among survivors grew hushed, as if we were conserving our energy for the battle ahead. Eyes scanned the water's surface for any signs of movement below, the mere thought of a shark's fin sending shudders through us. Despite the dire circumstances, a quiet camaraderie emerged among us. Strangers became allies, offering words of encouragement and support. We shared stories of our lives, our dreams, and our loved ones left behind on distant shores. It was a reminder that, despite the odds, we were still alive, and hope, however faint, still burned within us. As the night deepened and fatigue settled in, some of us drifted into restless slumber, clinging to whatever makeshift flotation device we could find. But for most, sleep remained elusive, the constant threat of danger and the bone-chilling cold keeping us vigilant. Hours stretched into what felt like an eternity. Every moment brought us closer to an uncertain fate. Yet, as we clung to life in the midst of the relentless sea, a shared determination emerged. We would fight to see the dawn, to defy the odds, and to return to the embrace of loved ones waiting for us on distant shores. And so we waited, our bodies battered by the elements, our spirits tested by the relentless sea, and our minds still clinging onto hope as though it was the only thing keeping us afloat. Then, like a lifeline from the heavens, rescue helicopters appeared over the crashing waves in the distance. Relief washed over me as I watched them descend one by one. The US Coast Guard, Navy, and Marine Corps had arrived to our aid. Survivors were hoisted from the water, slowly but surely. The sound of helicopter blades cutting through the air was the sweetest music I'd ever heard. We were being saved from the jaws of the ocean. As I looked back at the wreckage of Flight 980 sinking into the abyss, I couldn't help but feel a profound sense of gratitude mixed with sorrow for those who had been lost. It was a journey that none of us would ever forget, a story of survival against all odds, in the face of nature's fury and the lurking shadows beneath the waves. Thanks for joining us on this thrilling ride today. If you enjoyed this true thriller story, please leave a comment below to share your thoughts, and let us know what stories you'd like to see next. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a suspenseful episode. Until next time, keep those comments coming, stay curious and stay thrilled.